Hi everyone, Chief Tall Sniper here again with flashing lights, and today we are covering the ladder truck. Now, the ladder truck is a 6-man implement. It can be operated with as few as 1 and upwards of 6 to fully utilize all the functions. As you can see, we have seating for 6, driver, and 5 passengers. The ladder is the primary function of this vehicle, and it's equipped with a 3-inch hose nozzle at the tip. Now, this implement, because it can be operated as few as 1 person, the crew actually gets on the ladder and can move it while it's in the air. But before we can get to that, we have to get it hooked up. So one of the downsides to the ladder truck, it only has 1 water supply point. So we're going to attach our hydrant, and out here on the driver's side of the vehicle is our single attach point. So we've got our 5-inch hose hooked up, and we're going to show you all the water attach points. So we can get a line started here, and then we're going to take a sprint around because there's nothing on the rear of the vehicle. But you can see we have 2 water points on the passenger side. So while you have a 5-inch supply line coming in, you have 4 3-inch supply or water hoses that you can use. Of course, it has a 1,000-gallon reserve, so if there's any kind of water disruption, it still is able to supply. So now we're going to look at the tools. Of course, every fire truck comes with extinguishers, hoses, supply lines, SCBAs, which if you're going into a building is an OSHA requirement, that you be equipped with a self-contained breathing apparatus. After the fire's out, you have your fan to aerate the area and get all the smoke out. And of course, you have your Halligan tool in order to breach doors that have been locked. On the rescue side of things, we have our spreaders, which any kind of 1050 accident where there's a person trapped or pinned in, you're going to have to use the spreaders to separate the door and get the person out. You have your medic bag, which gives you basic first responder functionality, allows you to pretty much just triage someone and get them out of harm's way. Next, you have your ladder. And of course, these function just like a normal ladder would. When you're deploying it, use your scroll wheel in order to adjust the height. You can hit H, and then you can adjust the angle that it's going to sit. You can hit H again, and you can adjust the pitch. And of course, you left click in order to deploy. And of course, you climb up here and we can see what's on the second level of the fire station, which was nothing. So go back into our rescue tools. We have our axe, which is useful for trees. Unfortunately, they've not made it to where you can use an axe to open a door. I would like to see that implemented in the future. But you have your chainsaw, which is a great way of removing trees. I recommend that you chop everything up and then move it after it's segmented. That way it's more efficient of your time. And then we have our scene lights. And of course, you can hold your right click and deploy these. And of course, you just left click them to pick them back up. Now in our additional tools, we still have our traffic cones and road flares. These function just like on the engine side. And that covers our tools. So now we have to get this thing ready for a ladder. And what we always have to do is deploy our riggers. So we're going to click on the leftmost button and the rightmost button to get those pulled out. And of course you click on the down button to get those down. You'll repeat that with this side. Alright, you can see we've given our truck about a 5% pitch that we're going to correct on the right side. So once again, we're going to get these fully deployed out. And then you want to lower it and correct that pitch the best you can. Alright. So now that our riggers are deployed, we're now safe to use the ladder. Of course you can climb up on either side. But once you're up here, we have our ladder controls. And W will raise the ladder. S will lower it. D moves it to the right. A moves it to the left. And then E will extend it. And Q will retract it. So if you're in a two-man team, this is where you're going to control the ladder for your partner. If he has to get off the ladder and you need to reposition, then you're able to reposition it while he is off the ladder. Or if you just want to get it ready for him to use, you have that ability. I would always recommend from this angle to go ahead and start setting up your ladder to the right height and pitch if you can judge it. And it also grants you the ability to check for power lines, which you want to avoid, of course. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to use the ladder. You see the reason I say to go ahead and stage your height and pitch is because it looks very weird if you're going on a flat surface. So once you get up high enough, you can move your mouse around until you get the controls again. And then of course the controls are exactly the same for the ladder controls themselves. You can extend, and as I said, this is intended for buildings that are at least 3 stories or taller, and it reaches all the way up to 4 stories and the roof of 4 stories. So one of the things you don't have the benefit of being all the way up here is judging the distance between buildings. Thankfully you have third-person views, so you can look at that very well. Okay, so once you're up here, of course you can hit your left alt, and get your controls. So you can turn the water on. You can adjust the nozzle left and the right. And while this is active, you can still move the ladder as needed. Now as far as down, this is about as far down as you can go. This is 90 degrees. And then of course we can go all the way to this side, and of course all the way over to the other side, and that gives you 180 degrees of movement left and right for your hose. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and recenter this, and then we'll show you the up and down. And going up, you can go to 0 degrees with the ladder. Not exactly sure why. I guess if you were doing a low angle on the ladder, you could do that way. But then it goes back to 90 degrees. And in order to turn the water off, you just click the off button. Okay. So I've hit left alt again in order to get my mouse controls back. And we're going to go ahead and bring this in. We're going to get this even with the building. Okay, so once we're there, we hit our left alt, we're going to hit the X button, and then you can continue to climb this ladder. And actually get on the roof. Now it's a little clunky, you'll have to hit your shift button in order to get up there, unless you have a less stiff angle. But you can hit your use button and then go back down the ladder as well. So once your fire's out, first thing you want to do is retract your ladder, make sure it is all the way down, and then center it back onto the truck. Now when you're on the ground floor, it will not let you do left and down or up and right at the same time, so you'll have to manually adjust these each. Alright, so we're going to hit left alt so we can hit our X button. And we are going to approach and jump off the ladder. We are going to retract our landing gears. Of course, this is going to put the truck into a pitch again. It's okay. We're going to run those in using the left button this time on the right side. Okay, we're going to go over to the left side. Do the same thing, except this way. We're going to retract it. Always remember to retract the landing gear before you try to draw it in. And this will ensure that you're not digging up asphalt on your ground. And this time we're going to hit the right hand side to bring them in. Alright, our outriggers are in. We're one step closer to packing up shop. Just take our hose, roll them, store them away. And because we had our supply line hooked up, you can see we're still at 1,000 gallons. So we're going to disconnect our supply line, roll that hose, store it, and let's not forget our ladder. And we gotta use this upper button to pick it up. Bring it over here, store it. And we are free and clear here. So we can now get into our truck. And we are on to the next scene. Thank you all for joining me today. I hope y'all join me for my next videos.